So, why does my face look so shiny? But it's fine. But, hello people. What's up? Welcome back. Today, I just wanted to do some book recommendations based off some specific tropes. Just getting into reading, or like if you know your taste, like you want, like sometimes you choose a book based off the trope. Like mix and match, like some of these are just regular romances, some of these are fantasy romances, so you know, whatever you're into. Kind of like multiple tropes to one book, and I kind of like that in my books, but this first one is an example of that. So first I'm gonna talk about Before We Were Strangers by Renee Carlino, and this book is friends to lovers. It's second chance. So this book follows our main characters, Grace and Matt, and basically they met in college, they became friends, they had like this kind of instant friendship, and they spent like so much time together, and something happens, and then 15 years later they see each other like at a crossing in this at a subway. In the subway, I think, and Matt like sees her in the subway, and he's like, Grace, and she's like, Matt. And then like going back in time, and you see how they meet in college, and you see how their friendship is formed, and you see their connection that's built, and you see everything that happened between them, and you get to see why they didn't talk in 15 years. This book was very good. I think it was a little bit like too short, because I just think that I would have enjoyed to have more of like what was going on in the present times. I think I really enjoyed the past chapters a lot, because it took place in like the 90s, and it was like set in New York, so like it was a very good vibe. This one was really good. So if you want a nice friends to lovers where it's like they meet when they're older, because like they met in college for the first time, they have this good connection, and you get second chance. So yeah, if you like that type of thing, I think that you will like this book. So my favorite tropes, which is slow burn romances. I know some people have an issue with slow burn, they just want to get right into it, but I feel like if I'm going to talk about slow burn, I have to talk about what a lot of people say the queen of slow burn is, which is Mariana Zapata. I haven't read many books by her, but one that I really enjoyed was From Luke Off of Love. So this one is technically a sports romance. It follows Jasmine and Ivan, and they are both figure skaters. So Jasmine is, you know, getting to a higher level in figure skating, and Ivan is kind of like top dog, and he needs a partner, and she's never really done partner skating before. So his coach is like, yeah, I think you should be his partner. So basically this book follows them practicing together to be figure skating partners and to compete in the big competition that figure skaters do. I don't know anything about figure skating. It was really good. I felt like we really got to see like Ivan and Jasmine like build a connection. Like even though they so-called don't like each other in the beginning, you get to see them like form this bond, you know, this partnership, this trust, because you really have to trust your partner when ice skating. And just like the little cute scenes like of just them interacting, I really liked, and I really enjoy that about slow burns, like where you just get to see them doing normal everyday people stuff, but then like you start to see that connection build with like every conversation that they have. So it's like the small things, but that stuff really gets me. So that's why I really like this one. This one also contains so many tropes, because there's a lot of different relationships and bonds in this book. But for this book, I'm just going to choose Found Family. So that is Six of Crows by Lee Bardugo. I don't know how I even forgot the author, but so good, and it definitely deserves all the hype. So yeah, it's basically a YA fantasy, and it follows these six bandits, like because they don't all start out as friends. It's these six bandits, and there's a heist, and they're working together because they all are gonna gain something out of this heist and when it's done. And that's really all I can say about it. There's just so much more to it, but I feel like it's best to just go in and experience it for yourself, because it is a wild ride, but it is so entertaining, it is so fun, and yeah, it is so good. And just the bond that these six characters build together, like by the end of the second book, you're just going to be so attached. There's going to be tears. Yeah, read it, have it change your life. This is a very popular trope. I think it's most like everybody's favorite trope, and that is enemies to lovers. And I didn't want to choose a book that I feel like I see a lot of people talk about, but this series, I think it's a little bit underrated, but I have seen more hype of it recently, and that is the Dark Verse series by Runex. I'm specifically just going to show the first book, The Predator, because the first two books follow the same couple. So it follows Marana and Tristan, and they are truly the definition of enemies to lovers. Marana is actually planning to kill Tristan at this party. She's like sneaking in because she's planning to kill him, and he finds her and he's like, and basically Tristan is like, he's like the big boss in the mafia. Like he's a definition of this morally gray man. He's super like, he doesn't really talk that much. Like he's a very grumpy. He's very like when I tell y'all I love this book, I love this series. It is so good. Give it a shot. There's a little bit of a slow burn with this couple because they do have two books. It takes a little bit for them to get together, and especially a little bit for them to break down their walls. But that's what I felt was so natural about this. And it's like one of my favorite mafia series ever because like the romance is just so well done. And I feel like it's not that well done in other romance books, other mafia romance books. So yeah, I would very much recommend this. Also, if you're just getting into mafia, because the books get darker as you go along till you get like time to like grow with how dark the books gets. I'm talking about my favorite trope ever, like one of my favorite tropes, and that is fake dating. And I'm gonna talk about Redeemed by Lauren Asher. So this book is the fourth book in the Dirty Air series by her. I would recommend the whole entire series, but it's an interconnected standalone, so you could just pick this one up and be fine. But this book follows Santiago and Chloe. So Santiago had like something traumatic happen to him, and it's shown in the very beginning of this book. Something happens to him and it really messes up his like career plans and his goals. So he's kind of in a rut. He like just moves out to Italy. He wants to be alone. He doesn't really want to like be surrounded by his family or like people that was in his life previously. He just wants alone time because his life has had a severe like detour and like where it's headed. So he kind of just wants to stay alone. And then we have Chloe. She's living in New York, and she was kind of, I think she was like adopted or just like bouncing around like foster homes growing up. So she never really knew her real parents. So she does like this ancestry test or whatever, and she finds her dad online and finds out that he lives in Italy. So she books a flight to Italy. She's like, I want to find my dad. I want to meet him and I want to build a connection with him. And come to find out that he is the neighbor to Santiago. So when she's like trying to seek out her dad one night, she bumps into Santiago. They have some weird first meeting. It's not the best. They kind of become not enemies, but they just kind of don't like each other after their first meeting, and things happen. Santiago's family shows up and they're worried about him. So, you know, they decide to fake date, and Chloe needs to find a way to get close to her father, and she's like, I need a reason to stay here, so hey. So they decide to fake date, and it's Grumpy Sunshine. It is so freaking cute. Please, if you're not gonna read any other Lauren Asher book, please read this book. It is worth it. It's like my favorite Lauren Asher book. For my favorite series ever, and this book is a academic rivals to lovers book, and that is Kiss the Sky by Kristen Becker-Ritchie. So I would definitely recommend, if you're going to read this book, to read the Addicted series in order. I know people say you can just pick up this book, but I would say read it in order. So this book follows Rose and Connor, and because of events that happened in the other Addicted books, in this one, the family is kind of, you know, famous, and they decide to have like a reality TV show. So this one's like gives like a Kardashians vibe because it's like a reality TV show, The Family. And Rose and Connor, they are both like super smart, like the smartest people alive. They're rich, they're smart, they're just that like fancy couple, and they are definitely academic rivals lovers, and their banter is just so good. I can't really say too much about this book because I don't really want to spoil other things that happen in the series, but if this gives you any other, you know, motivations to read the Addicted series, please pick it up, because Rose and Connor are definitely a reason to read it. Because soulmates and like, what is it called? Like mates. People don't really like that trope because it's like, oh, they're destined to be together. I don't really want to read that, but it's whatever. But I'm gonna tell like a series, and that is the Throne of Glass series. Now this is a fantasy romance, so like it's destined to have a soulmate. I'm not gonna tell you who the soulmates are because that would just spoil the book. The first book, at least, it follows our main character Selena, and she is an assassin, and she is in jail, but she gets taken out because there's this competition to become the king's assassin, and she has to fight in this competition and battle amongst a lot of other assassins, and basically that's her only way to gain freedom. And that's all I'm gonna say, because there are 8 books in this series and there's so much more that goes into it. That is basically just the plot of this one. It's so much. It is so much. Wow journey. It is great in the romance and the friendships and everything. Ugh, so good. Yeah, not many people love it, but I just want to talk about it anyway, and that's a love triangle. So if you like love triangles, read this book. And that is Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. You know, there are a lot of other like tropes and reasons to read this book, so I would just say pick it up. This is a YA urban fantasy, and it follows our main character Bree. At the very beginning of this book, something very traumatic happens to her. She finds out that her mom's dead, and then her dad enrolls her in this like pre-college program, so like she goes to stay away at school. But she's 16 years old. She's just going through a tough time, and things are happening. She starts to see things that maybe she shouldn't be seeing in normal world, and things with shadow hunters. And like, if you like Cassandra Clare, I would say pick this book up, because like kind of that same vibe, set in the city, shadow hunters things. It's so much that goes into this book. It's also a King Arthur retelling. King Arthur? Did I say that right? I don't know if I said that right. So if you know the lore and the story behind that, I would say also pick it up as well. This book was very good. The love triangle is not really prevalent in the first book. It's going to be a trilogy, I'm pretty sure, but I have Bloodmark 2, the second book, and I know that one is where like the love triangle picks up more. But this book is very good, and you basically go on a journey with Bree and her grief and coming of age. It talks about injustices. Also good for a newcomer to fantasy, because it's not that hard to read. So I would recommend picking up this book. And the last book I'm going to talk about, this one deals with a bunch of tropes as well. Friends to lovers, forbidden love, but I'm going to mainly talk about age gap. And that is Hot House Flower by Kristen Becker-Ritchie. This is also a part of the Addicted series / Cowboy Sister series. And this follows the youngest sister, Daisy, and another character, Reich. So yeah, I can't really say much about this book because that would just spoil the whole entire series. But basically, this is an age gap romance. They like start as friends. It's very good. I don't even know why I added this, because I can't really talk about this much. Like, I know you can just read the Cowboy Sisters series, but I don't really want to talk about this much because I don't want to spoil what happens in the Addicted series if you're going to read that. And I really would prefer if you just read the whole thing. So all I'm going to say is that this book has the age gap trope. So if you like age gap, that gives you another reason to read the Addicted series. So that was all the books I'm going to talk about in this video. It was fun. All the books I'm talking about today, and I hope you guys liked it. I hope you liked all the recommendations, and that you pick them up and you read these books, because come back again for another video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for tuning into my channel, and please like, subscribe, comment, give me suggestions. I will see you in the next video.